Hey, what's up guys? My name is Felix and you might know me as Pure here on YouTube. And yeah, welcome to the very first episode of this new tutorial series that I've just started doing. So in this episode I'm not gonna be showing you guys a lot of tricks and stuff in After Effects itself. I'm mostly going to be talking about, as you can tell from the title, specs and motivation. So if you don't already know what this series is all about, please click in the description on the link in the description, and you'll be taken to the introduction video which I made a couple of days ago, in case you missed it, of course. And now that you hopefully know what this series is all about, let me get started with the specs. Alright, so let's talk about the CPU, the processor of the computer. Now, some of you guys may already know about all this stuff, and you can just skip ahead to the motivation part of this video, and yeah, you'll just learn obvious things here. So anyways, for those of you who are not quite sure about what specs you need for running After Effects successfully and efficiently, well, here's for you, and I hope that you'll gain a better understanding of the computer itself. And yeah, I'll try to do my best, but please keep in mind that this is a pretty basic explanation and description. Alright, so about the CPU then, the processor of the computer. Basically the CPU or the processor is it's pretty much the brain of the computer, right? I mean, the computer code is basically broken down to mathematics. It's about binary code, and that means ones and zeros, and that's pretty much the language of the computer, right? So what you need to take away from this is that the better your processor and CPU is, the faster everything inside your computer is going to be. I mean, you're going to be able to render much more quickly, and you're going to, I mean, everything you do inside the computer is going to be quicker. It's going to have the power, and it's going to have the power to do all these calculations with the binary code much quicker. If say you have an Intel i7, I mean, it's a huge difference between an Intel i7 and an Intel i3. And I'm not gonna get into specifics that which I've said like 1,000 times already. I'm sorry, but yeah, let's carry on with the RAM. So let's talk about the RAM in terms of the usage of After Effects. Now, the more RAM you have, the better, obviously. And you might ask yourself, how much RAM do I actually need to be able to run After Effects on, say, a 64-bit system? Whether it be Windows or Mac, it doesn't matter really. Now, if you look at the tech specs, it sounds silly. It sounds like Tex-Mex. Okay, that's besides the point. If you go onto Adobe.com and look at the tech specs of Adobe After Effects CS 5.5, that's the latest version of After Effects. You can see that on both Windows and Mac, it says that the minimum required amount of RAM is 2 gigabytes. Now, I've always used 2 gigabytes when rendering, and I mean using After Effects with, so it works just fine with 2 gigabytes of RAM. I can't do like ridiculously long RAM previews, but I mean, if you take a look at my videos, most of them are decent, and they're all made on a system that only has 2 gigabytes of RAM. So if you only have 2 gigabytes of RAM, then don't worry about it, it'll be fine. And if you want to, you can upgrade the RAM. Now the RAM is it's a hardware, right? So you can't like go onto a site and download like a crack or something. You can't do that, okay? You have to buy an actual piece of machinery. You need to buy a new RAM memory. Now I would suggest about 8 gigabytes of RAM. 16 is a bit over the top and it's very expensive, but 8 gigabytes is it's worth its price, and I think it's great. I've tried editing on systems that have 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it's terrific. I love it, and I'm possibly going to upgrade my RAM memory actually. Alright then, so let's talk a bit about the video card. The video card, or the video adapter, it's basically a card which generates the output of an image to display on your screen, on your monitor. So you really need to have your I mean, you really need to have a good video card when editing. And basically it takes what the processor, all the information that the processor gives it, and it basically just sends all that information to I mean, in this case After Effects, where to put the pixels, and then it displays on your monitor. Now the better, the faster the better, and the better the faster. So you want to have a good video card, and I'm not gonna mention specific brands here, but I mean, I'll have some tips in the description for if you're curious about that. Alright, so we're done with the specs, and please keep in mind that I'll try to keep this basic, so it'll be easier for everyone to understand, and for me as well. I'm not an expert on this, don't get me wrong. Alright, so let's talk a bit about my second topic, which is motivation. Alright, so this is probably the most important part of this video. I'm going to talk about motivation and why you're doing this. Why do you want to become an editor, or if you are an editor already, why do you do it? And I mean, just try to ask yourself that question, and you might find this silly, and I totally get that. I don't mind at all if you find it silly, but just try to ask yourself that question of why do you do this? Do you do this because it's fun? Do you do this because you're fucking bored? I don't know. Or do you do this because you have some gameplay, and you just wanna put it into a montage, and you want to be you want to look cool, and yeah. Or maybe you just you found out that you can make a lot of money doing this, which is incorrect, but I know some people get very turned on by the fact that you can actually make a bit of money doing YouTube videos nowadays. So just to scare off, just saying that if you're here to make, I mean, the sole purpose of your videos is to make money, you're not gonna get far. If you don't have that motivation, that you are inspired by other people's edits, and you want to create content for other people to be inspired by, and you feel like this is your creative outcome, I mean, this is your creative, I mean, it's already like you need to do this, right? I mean, some people's creative outlet is that's the word I'm looking for, creative outlet. And some people like to paint, and I'm not gonna go with the whole discussion about art and Call of Duty. I'm just gonna leave that alone. Just saying that it's kind of creative, I'd say so. I mean, putting video clips together is sort of creative, and just try to ask yourself that question of why you're doing this, and it can make it a lot easier. Maybe you saw something on the internet, you saw some edit, and you thought, man, this is fucking terrific. I want to be as good as this guy, and I want to inspire other people with my work. And yeah, just ask yourself that question, and whenever you lose motivation, you go back to that source, right? You go back to that source, and you have your motivation again. I hope that works for you. And I mean, I just hope that you didn't find this too silly, but yeah, I hope that that'll help some of you. And again, I'm sorry if my grammar and pronunciation wasn't perfect in this video, but hey, I'm Swedish, so I do the best I can do, and I try to improve all the time. And I hope you learned something in this video, and hope you got something out of it. I hope I just didn't waste 10 minutes of your life at least. So I think that's it. And if you want to support me, just click the thumb up video. The thumb up video. If you want to support me, just click the thumbs up on the video. Give me a good old like, and I really appreciate that. And yeah, till the next time, just take care, guys. All right, bye.